My name is Benayon John. I work at Réseau des Femmes Leaders pour le Développement, RFLD, a regional organization, a Pan-African regional organization. We are very happy to be present in this side event in the margins of the 75th Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. We welcome the presence of the Chairperson, Honorable Remy Ngoy Lumbu. Without delaying, we're going to start the meeting. I will leave the floor to Madame Gloria AGUEH, Chairperson of Réseau des Femmes Leaders pour le Développement. Madame President, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, John, for...
The 350, I haven't written.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Chairperson of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, dear colleagues, dear authority, all protocol observed, good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity given to us to share our feedback from our multiple activities in the continent. In the framework of promoting human rights defense in sub-Saharan Africa, Réseau des Femmes Leaders pour le Développement, RFLD, carry out activities in order to hold governance accountable on their promises. This comes as an evidence that RFLD is more than ever committed to promoting human rights on the continent with its partner CIVICUS. Réseau des Femmes Leaders pour le Développement, Women Leaders Network for Development, a regional organization based in West Africa and led by women. Our vision is to build effective cooperation to promote and protect the rights of young people and women and ensure their participation in the decision-making spheres. So, feedback from our activities prompted us to conclude that the most critical challenges that we must all face in the next 5 years are the following: unequal distribution of water, violence against women and girls, harmful practices, lack of representation in decision spheres, economic justice, climate change, a complex security situation, and civic space strongly challenged. So RFLD work intensively to strengthen citizen and civil society actions for a more fair Africa through these 4 strategic objectives: to further promote women's rights, sexual and reproductive health, as well as their representation in decision-making spheres, bodies, to promote through our activity civic freedom and democracy values with a focus on human rights, to continue the fight for economic justice for women, to strengthen and consolidate the principle of participatory governance, civil society's capacity for innovation and media development. Thank you once again for this wonderful opportunity towards us, Réseau des Femmes Leaders pour le Développement. I wish you a fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We're very Delighted and happy to have you with us. And without delaying, as I told you before, the chairperson of the African Commission is very busy today, but he made sure that he's there. So without delaying, because he has others meeting going, we give him the floor. Honorable Chairperson Remy and Ngoy Lumbu, welcome. You have the floor, Chairperson.
Oh, thank you, Mr. John. It seems that we don't have an interpretation. Are you expecting me to speak in English?
I think we have a challenge with interpretation.
Oh, it's a bad idea to ask me to speak in English, as you may know, John, because I am a Francophone. But on the purpose of having a successful meeting, allow me to try to speak in English. I apologize too much to the person who are attending this meeting if they cannot understand very well my English. Thank you very much to you, John, and to Madame Gloria, who is the chairperson of the RFLD, Réseau des Femmes Libres pour le Développement. I want also to thank CIVICUS, your partner, or both of you are also the partners of the African Commission of Human and People's Rights. It's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon. As you may know, we are in the margin of the 75th ordinary session with the African Commission, even if today we have resumed before 3 p.m. I have some commitments, some meetings with many stakeholders. But as I have promised to come here, I suspended my meeting to come and join you to say a few words before you continue with your deliberations. It seems to me that you are organizing this meeting as a side event due to the fact that today we have received, as you may know, we have received the report, the activity report of the government of Zambia. We have engaged with them today on various issues, thematics, in the framework of the charter itself and the Maputo's protocol and the protocol of Kampala. Many orders of the mandate, special mechanism is engaged with the government of Zambia, led by the Minister of Justice, Mr. Bwalia. It was a very big delegation with something like 13 members, ministers and directors from different ministries involved in the issue of human rights. And it was a big meeting. I suppose that, not I suppose, but I'm sure we have asked to the government to come tomorrow and to respond to us deeply, to respond to our different questions that have been asked to them. That will allow us to adopt in the days to come, in the next sessions, to adopt the final conclusions concerning that report. The very key problem that I have to put in to talk to you today is the fact that I congratulate too much the Republic of Gambia, or Zambia, the Republic of Gambia, because they've joined now the protocol of Maputo, the protocol creating, not the protocol of women, but the protocol of Maputo creating the African Court of Human and People's Rights. It's a very good news for Africa. And the fact that at the same time, the government of Zambia has accepted to sign also the declaration that, you know, under the Article 24.6, that will allow NGOs who are who have already the observator statute to the African Commission for Human and People's Rights to bring cases. And it will allow also individuals, people from Zambia, to bring cases also in front of the African Commission of humans and people rights. I know that in organizations like RFLD, you received just this year your observatory statute, but my will, I want to express a will. It will be that you are a young NGO. What I can ask you is to do all your best so that in the days to come, you can also be among those NGOs who can bring cases in front of the African Commission of Human and People's Rights. I know that it is a very huge problem inside civil society organizations because most of you used to work in the framework of promotion of human rights, but be a special one if sometimes you can bring cases to the African commissions. It will be very good things to protect human rights in Africa, especially the rights of women. Now, I want just to recall you that as you are human rights defenders, to say a few words about my mandate of Special Rapporteur of Human Rights. As you may know, the African Commission of Human and People's Rights has already adopted several resolutions in the template of in the thematic of human rights defenders. Some of them, you know them, have created the mandate and they have defined what will be the mandate of the Special Rapporteur. Is it necessary perhaps for me to say a few words about those mandates? I'm expecting that you and me, our principal job is to look for, to receive, and to consider all the informations related to the situation of human rights defenders in Africa. I just want to talk about that one because the other one, you know them. Informations. Our principal job is to look every morning after praying, after listening informations. Our principal job is to look for informations. And you look for the informations, you can look for information yourself, you must be proactive. Today, the enterprise of looking for information becomes more and more easy because we have smartphones, we have internet, all of us. It's very easy for us to look for information concerning human rights defenders. You may even receive them yourself from your colleagues, from other organizations of civil society organizations. Please receive, please consider them, and please take actions. What actions am I waiting from you as human rights defenders when you receive information? Is to inform. My mechanism is to alert. Please, Chairperson, this is the situations that we are facing today concerning this and this human rights defenders in this and that country. It will allow me to also activate some other mechanisms so that we can get real information and so that we can take actions. What is important in the mandate of the Special Rapporteur of Human Rights Defenders is to take actions, I need you, I need your support, I need the support of RFLD, I need the support of CIVICUS. When you are looking for information, please share, please give us those informations because the life of human rights defenders are often in danger. They are facing many things in front of the government, in front of our governments, and it's better the more we get those informations earlier, the quickly we can take big action so that we can help them. You may count on me. Everywhere human rights defenders are making their meetings, I must be there. I must come discuss with you. I must come and give ideas. In that template, in that framework, I want to thank too much CIVICUS and RFLD because during my mandate, they have organized many activities to promote the defense of the right of human rights defenders. You must keep on working in the same framework. You must keep on supporting this mandate. It's your mandate. You must keep on creating some activities. wherever you are going to organize them, whenever you can organize them, I will make available myself, cleaning my agenda, so that I can come and join you. Don't hesitate also, as you have now a statute, observatory statute to submit. You are a young NGO who has received this statute, observatory statute. Don't forget also to submit most of the every 2 years. It's per year. The report of the activity. Never forget also to submit to us any information that can be useful for the mandate by writing to us letters, by calling us, by sending to us message, so that we can know what you are doing, because you are the arm, you are the long arm, you are the eyes, you are the I don't know how to say it in English, you are the ears, les oreilles, as we used to say in French. You are the ears of the African Commission for Human and People's Rights. You are the ears, the eyes, the arms of the mandate of the Special Rapporteur of Human Rights. I want you to work together with me. I want you to work together with my mandate, even together with the other mandate of the special mechanism of the African Commission of Human and People's Rights. It does not matter for me. But me, all the mechanism, the special mechanism, I used to consider them also like human rights defenders, commissioners, and they are also human rights defenders. I want to say again a few words about the cooperation and the dialogue that we must institute between you, like our partners, and you. Let us cooperate. Let us discuss. Let us change informations. Don't keep information for you. Change them with the mechanism, because if you don't change them, we will lose our credibility. If we don't change them, we'll lose our force, our importance in the system of the protection of human rights defenders. Let us also, as said the resolution that have created this mandate, share our strategies. We cannot work without strategies. We must have some key strategies per year, after every 6 months, so that we can do very well the work of the promotion, the work of the protection of human rights defenders. The sensitizations and the implementation, the sensitization and the implementation of the UN Declaration of Human Rights Defenders is something that I'm waiting also from you, so that whatever you are doing, whenever you are doing, wherever you are, you can think on it, because it's the declaration of UN Declaration of Human Rights Defenders is something that is protecting us. One day, if God help us, in the year to come, in the 2 years to come, we'll also have, I'm preparing it, if God likes, we'll have it as soon as possible. Also, the African Declaration of Human Rights Defenders. Perhaps one day I will come and knock on your door, so that you can help us to discuss, to have a dialogue on this issue, and to organize even some activities while we are preparing also the African Declaration, protecting also the human rights defenders. Those are small words that I was expecting to talk to you today, but the very important one, as we are discussing in the framework of Zambia, is to know that Zambia is also now a part of the African system of protection of human rights, as they have now ratified the protocol creating the African Court of Human and People's Rights, and also they have signed the declaration under the Article 34.6. I hope that even CIVICUS, even you, CIVICUS and RFLD, put your minds together, put your energies together, put your resources together to work in the template of litigation. Litigation is something that is very poor in our continent. You don't know, you cannot imagine what I'm talking about. Litigation is something that is very poor in this continent. I want to say The last word is to give you some statistics. Do you know that since the African Commission of Human and People's Rights have been created, I mean, since 36 years, this organ has only received less than 1,000 of communications. I may repeat myself, since this institution has been created, it has only received less than 1,000 of communication. It means something like 850 communications. For 36 years of existence is very less. That number is very less. Why is it very less? Because we are not taking seriously the mandate of the protection of human rights. We are not taking seriously the mandate of the protection of human rights defenders. This is why I'm asking you. I beg your pardon, so that in the days to come, you can work also in the template of litigation. If you may allow me, I can now end my statement here. I wish you a fruitful deliberations. Don't hesitate for the next activity that you are going to have to solicit also my mandate. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you, CIVICUS. Thank you, Madam Gloria. Thank you, RFLD. We are going to meet again in the next activity to come. John, it was very difficult for me to speak English. I'm improving myself, and God will help me to be again more better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you. We are very happy that always, even when you are very busy, you make sure that you have time for human rights defenders on the continent. Thank you very much, Chairperson. The Chairperson has a very charged agenda. So I don't know if the Chairperson of RFLD want to say a word towards the Chairperson before he leaves. Madam Gloria.
Yes. Thank you, John. I just want to say a high thank you for Mr. President Remy Ngoy for his help towards the RFLD on behalf of the statutes of observatory stature, or comment ça se dit, Monsieur John? Am I right?
Observer statures that RFLD.
Okay, observer stature. Thank you. So we are very happy to know that anytime we can reach to you, and that we can learn from you and give our best in the continent. So thank you very much for being available for us once again this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye to all. Bye-bye to all friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye to all human rights defenders. Thank you.
Bye. We will continue our meeting. The meeting will be continued. So I will give the floor to our colleague from 1 minute. I'm looking for his name. Patrick will be the one speaking at the last. So Vusumuzi, I give the speech to Vusumuzi. You have 10 minutes, Vusumuzi.
Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you, colleagues, for creating time for this discussion, and also allow me to appreciate the chairperson in absentia for those opening remarks that he shared. So, for colleagues that I have not interacted with, I am Vusumuzi Sifile. Sorry, let me just briefly turn on my video so that you see me. I'm Vusumuzi Sifile. I'm the Executive Director of Panos Institute, Southern Africa. Panos Institute, Southern Africa is a communication for development organization that is based in Lusaka in Zambia, but working across Southern Africa. And we are a member of various network, regional and international networks, including CIVICUS, under whose umbrella we are participating in this very important and timely discussion. Maybe also just from the onset, I'll mention that my organization, Panos Institute Southern Africa, recently submitted a shadow report on the state of the right to information in Zambia, focusing on the government of the Republic of Zambia's compliance with obligations relating to the right to information as contained in Article 9 of the ACHPR. We submitted this report at a time, I think, when we started working on the report, we were actually in a situation where Zambia had never reported. I think Zambia had never submitted a report. We had missed about 9 reporting cycles. And of course, by the time we were completing our shadow report, then the government of the Republic of Zambia then submitted combined 1st to 7th reports, which is a commendable thing. But of course, that also presents a challenge because they are covering the period from 2005 to 2019. So if you follow the developments in Zambia, you would know that from 2005 up to 2011, we had a different dispensation under the movement for multi-party democracy. And then from 2011 up to 2021, we had another dispensation under the Patriotic Front government. And then from 2021, we had the United Party for National Development that is currently coming in, and they are the ones that are currently in power. So now the report, of course, it's not a political party report. It is a state party report, but it does present certain challenges because it covers a period when the current government was still in opposition. In fact, it starts from the period when the current ruling party did not come into existence. So, but regardless of that situation, we did examine the government of Zambia's compliance with the ACHPR requirements or with the provisions of the ACHPR. And of course, we juxtaposed that with other international human rights obligations, including the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights and the ACHPR. We focused in our report on specifically the right to freedom of expression and also a bit on the freedom of movement, which are issues that feature in the combined reports that Zambia presented. Maybe for the information of colleagues that I think we will just to refresh our minds that the ACHPR in Article 19 provides for the right to information to ensure that every individual shall have the right to receive information, and every individual shall have the right to express and disseminate his or her own opinions within the law. And in line with that, I think Zambia had pledged to enact an access to information law, to enact and implement an access to information law. But colleagues may wish to know that as it stands now, Zambia does not have an access to information law. Rather, Zambia does not have a law to operationalize the right to information as espoused in the ACHPR Article 19. Of course, there have been certain positive developments which point to maybe a commitment to fulfill the requirements or the obligations under Article 19, and also the 2019 revised Declaration on Freedom of Expression Principles in Africa. So I think I will not continue with a lot of but I will just emphasize that of key concern to us is that without, like, of course, the Constitution of Zambia, it does provide for the right to freedom of expression, which really includes the right to access to information. But in the absence of a specific law to operationalize that constitutional provision, it then undermines opportunities. It limits the extent to which that vision or can be realized. And also maybe just as background, in the absence of a state party report to the ACHPR, like I mentioned that Zambia only reported on 23rd March, and we had not been reporting since 2005. We also referred to other reports like under the Universal Periodic Review and the other such bodies, where Zambia was committed to, there were commitments or recommendations. One, like I already mentioned, to enact legislation to facilitate access to information, and also to make efforts to ensure access to information of public interest to citizens, and to guarantee this, the right of freedom of assembly, and to ensure that necessary reforms are undertaken to guarantee the effective protection of the rights to freedom of expression, assembly, and association. If you look at the combined report, the seventh report covering the period 2005 to 2019, you will see that there has been certain reforms, such as the constitution of the setting up and the operationalization of the Independent Broadcasting Authority. But at where we stand right now, in as much as we do have an Independent Broadcasting Authority, we have certain challenges where we see maybe bordering on the partiality of the Independent Broadcasting Authority. We feel that it is not as independent as its name implies. And we have made recommendations to the government, and we have also made recommendations in our submissions to the committee, to the commission, for the government of Zambia to expedite reforms that will enhance the impartiality of the Independent Broadcasting Authority. And we have also made recommendations requiring for the government of Zambia to create and maintain in law and in practice an enabling environment that guarantees freedom of expression and also free peaceful assembly. And a starting point for that is the enactment and implementation of an access to information law. And then the government of Zambia also did report on freedom of movement, where I think there were recommendations relating to ensuring, so this was really combined with freedom of expression, and there were recommendations also encouraging the government to guarantee that journalists and other media workers can carry out their work independently and without fear of persecution, including by reviewing its defamation laws. So you may wish to know that indeed the defamation of the president law was struck off from our statutes. But that is a cause for celebration, but only to a small extent, because the criminal defamation still remains an offense. So in our view, because it means now one may not be charged for defamation of the president, but if you defame the president or any other person, you can then still be charged for criminal defamation. And we feel that there is need for further reviews to address some of those lacunas, especially as far as they go in limiting the enjoyment of the right to information or the right to freedom of expression and the access to information. We have also seen reforms that are currently underway, such as the repealing of the Public Order Act, which has over the past few decades, or rather many decades, because it's been it's a piece of legislation that had been in our statutes from before independence, and it's been one of the biggest threats to the enjoyment of the rights to freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of association. There have been steps taken to review and to repeal it and replace it with a public gathering bill, we have not seen the latest draft public gathering bill to determine the extent to which it has taken into account recommendations that as different stakeholders we made to ensure that such a law complies with African Union guidelines and the other international best practices. And also, yeah, I know that my 10 minutes is fast running out, but I'm equally trying to move very, very fast. So there were also, I think I've already spoken to the issues relating to the repealing of the defamation of the president, but we still see cases of harassment, of violation of the rights of journalists, like we have seen like a student from, or rather a driver from Evelyn Horn College who was recently, well, not recent anymore, arrested for defamation of the president, and it's good that this has now been removed. We have also seen a number of cases of ruling party members or ruling party supporters attempting to silence opposition actors or human rights defenders or other people that do not seem to agree with them. So we feel that while there has been some progress, I think the government has partially implemented its commitments, but there is still a lot that needs to be done in terms of freeing the media space, in terms of creating an environment that allows and protects the right to freedom of expression, the right to access to information, and also to put in place practical measures to ensure the impartiality of the Independent Broadcasting Authority. Maybe for the sake of colleagues who may be wondering, what is this Independent Broadcasting Authority? It is a statutory body that is established to oversee or to regulate the broadcasting sector, but it does not regulate the national broadcaster. So now that presents a challenge, because if you look at some of the challenges, the problems that we have seen in our broadcasting space, the national broadcaster has been one of the biggest culprits, but they cannot be regulated by the Independent Broadcasting Authority. So those are some of the issues that we, the Commission may engage the Republic of Zambia to review, to consider and gently address, so that we have an environment where citizens can freely engage with each other. They can freely access information that is held by public officials and use that information to hold decision makers to account. Because we feel that without an enabling access to information law, it becomes difficult for citizens to play their part to democratically participate in the governance of the country. We also would like to request through the committee for the government of Zambia to create and maintain in law and in practice an enabling environment, or rather to expedite the enactment of an access to information law. Our colleagues may wish to know that previously, I think 21 years ago, Zambia actually had a draft freedom of information law, which was withdrawn from Parliament at the stage of second reading for consultations, and I'm saying consultations in courts. And from then up to now, we have had a lot of back and forth, but the bottom line is right now, Zambia does not have an access to information law, and that is limiting the extent to which citizens can participate in the governance of the country. It is also weakening the country's democratic foundations, because I'm sure you will agree with me that freedom of expression, access to information is the heartbeat of any democracy. It is the oxygen that propels our democracies, and without it, it becomes very difficult. Also, so I think I'll pause here and then maybe respond to any specific questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vusumuzi. for your presentation. Now we leave the last panelist, our colleague Patrick Kaumba, who is currently in Banjul. Patrick, you have the floor. Patrick, can you activate your sound?
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear. Yes, we can hear you, Patrick.
How much time are you giving me, Mr. Moderator? Hello?
Yes, Patrick, you have 15 to 20 minutes. You can also put on your video if you want. Can you hear me, Patrick?
Okay.
Hello, Patrick, can you go on, please?
Hello?
You have the floor. Yes, Patrick, you have the floor. Yes, go on, please.
Okay. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all those connected. I was told to make a presentation based on the fact that the Zambian government, who has today actually made a presentation of its report, that is the ACHPR commitments, which are being reviewed because the process has not ended. It was started today, reviewed and assessed, and probably to conclude tomorrow. And so my presentation will cover about 6 areas. The first one is an introduction. Then I will highlight the ACHPR commitments made by Zambia, which will be reviewed and assessed. Then also make observations on progress made and the positive steps taken by the Zambian government from what was presented. Then I'll cover a little bit more on the civic space in Zambia. Then number 5, I'll look at the constraints and challenges, and finally make recommendations and a conclusion. So on the first part, let me join my colleagues who have already actually thanked the Honorable Chairperson Absentia for his commitment to the realization of the human and people's rights on the African continent. GEA's Initiative Zambia also welcomes this rare privilege, honor, and opportunity to be part of the panel that is deliberating on the side event, which has been organized on the margins of the 75th ordinary session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. One may be compelled to ask, why has CIVICUS and GEA's Initiative Zambia taken keen interest on this topical issue regarding the African Commission on Human and People's Rights with specific focus on Zambia? Probably our response would be that CIVICUS and GEA's Initiative Zambia have in the recent past partnered over a number of projects centered around promoting human rights, civic freedoms, and media development in sub-Saharan Africa, where Zambia as a country rightly belongs. Hence, an ACHPR performance review and assessment on Zambia is of particular to us particular interest to us as human rights promoters and defenders. Maybe let me move to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights historical perspective. Here, I would like to, highlight key facts. Firstly, that the ACHPR is a regional human rights instrument hosted by the adopted by the OU rather in 1991 and later ratified by the African Union AU in 2004. The ACHPR is made up of 54 of the 55 AU countries, including Zambia, who have ratified or acceded to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Zambia itself ratified this charter in January 1984. The charter also establishes the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which is responsible for promoting and protecting human rights in Africa. Now let me move to the second part, which is the ACHPR commitments made by Zambia, which will be reviewed, which are being reviewed and assessed. Firstly, there's the issue of ensuring the independence of the judiciary and guarantee access to justice for all. Secondly, address restrictions on the rights to freedom of expression, assembly, and association. This is followed also by taking measures to combat police brutality and ensure that government officials are held accountable for human rights abuses. We also have a review and amending all laws and policies that restrict human rights and fundamental freedoms. There is also an issue of addressing violence and discrimination against women and children, including by enacting and implementing laws to protect them. The other one is to ensure that the rights of the vulnerable groups, such as persons with disabilities and LGBT individuals, are protected. Further, take steps to address impunity for human rights abuses and ensure that victims have access to effective remedies. Besides, ensure that the rights of refugees and asylum seekers are respected and protected. We also have an issue to do with taking steps to protect the right to life, including addressing judicial killings and enforced disappearances. Finally, strengthen the National Human Rights Commission and ensure its independence and effectiveness. Now, from our view as civil society, that is GEAS and CIVICUS, this is what we seem to have recorded as positive steps taken by the Zambian government, especially in the recent past. We highlight about 5 of such positive steps. I think my colleague just finished speaking, had mentioned the issue of the controversial Public Order Act, which dates back to 1955, and apparently successive governments have kept on dodging it and so on and so forth. But we seem to have political will this time now, and we think that that is a positive step. There's ongoing review of the controversial Public Order Act, which has now culminated in the production of a public gathering bill containing more progressive provisions. Secondly, we have also noted that the significant efforts made in the promotion of the right to education, which has seen the provision of free education from pre-primary and including from grade 1 to grade 12, and the recruitment of 30,000 plus teachers in 2022. Further, the Zambian government has taken several steps to strengthen the Human Rights Commission and ensured its independence. In this direction, we recognize the increase in funding to the commission amidst a tight fiscal space from 13,809,000 209 kwacha. In 2018 to 21,199,507 in 2022, representing an increase of 35%. Further, we have also seen mobilization of resources from cooperating partners to strengthen its capacity. Besides, from the report today, we had that was given by the Minister of Justice, the Human Rights Commission Act is undergoing a review, hopefully to make it more independent and improve its effectiveness. Besides, we note that the Zambian government has repealed provisions on the death penalty in the Penal Code, Chapter 87, and the Criminal Procedure Code, Chapter 58 of the laws of Zambia last December, regarding the repeal of defamation of the president's law. Further, we have also seen serious commitments and political will which has been shown, which may eventually lead to the amendment of the cybersecurity and the crime law. Amending. Hello? Hello? Are you getting me?
Yes, go on, please.
Okay, I will read that again. We have also seen serious commitments and political will, which has been shown, which we eventually lead to the amendment of the Cybersecurity and Crime Act, amendment of the NGO Act, and assenting to the Access to Information Bill. Now, what are the views of the general population in the country? A recent scientific research finding carried out by Afrobarometer, a Pan-African, non-partisan, and non-profit research network that provides reliable data on African experiences and evaluations of governance, democracy, and human rights related issues in many parts of Africa, including Zambia, revealed some positive developments. The research findings carried out in September 2022 in Zambia revealed that most citizens now believe that the country is going in the right direction. These are the views held by about 51% of the Zambians, a dramatic improvement compared to 2020 when a similar research finding was carried out in the country. Now let me turn to the civic space. On the civic space in Zambia, we note the following. I will deal with about 5 issues here. Firstly, we have the civic and political rights. Some of the major concerns have centered on, as my colleagues have already alluded to, freedom of the press. Government response to peaceful protests and opposition political party activities. There are also concerns regarding the independence of the judiciary. Further, challenges related to election administration and political party violence rather. And finally, harassment faced by civil society campaigners and human rights defenders. Secondly, I would now turn to concerns over legal and policy systems. Over the years, stakeholders have raised several concerns over Zambia's legal and policy systems becoming inhibitive to its citizens in recent years. Some of the concerns include the following: restriction on freedom of expression, limited access to justice, political interference in the judiciary, restrictions on freedom of assembly, widespread corruption in the public sector, and therefore, overall, the legal system, policy system in Zambia has been seen as inhibitive to citizens in a number of ways. Thirdly, I want to deal with the issue of citizens' participation. The country is known for having a multi-party system that is irregular, and its regular holding of election, which allows citizens to participate in decision-making processes. However, there still exists challenges to citizens' participation in governance and democracy, such as limited citizens' participation in contributing to the development planning and the budgetary process. Further, limited access to information and lack of transparency in decision-making processes. There are also concerns over safety and security of citizens who engage in political activism or express dissent views. Let me now turn to the participation of youths, women, and marginalized people. Marginalization describes both a process and a concern that prevents individuals or groups to fully participate in social, economic, and political life. Regarding these three group categories, it has been observed, firstly, on the part of the women, that in Zambia, women have been underrepresented in political leadership. As people say, statistics don't lie. Only 141 women were elected out of 1,858, representing 7.6% at national government, at local government level during the 2021 general elections in Zambia. At National Assembly level, only 20 women made it out of 156 positions, representing 12.8%. Regarding the youths, we see and we observe that youths face various challenges in participating in governance and the decision-making processes in Zambia. One of the key issues that needs to be tackled head-on is the issue of unemployment, which stands well over 20% in the country. The third part is people living with disabilities and those living in poverty or rural areas who have been, I think, seen to face significant barriers such as limited access to information, low levels of education, and inadequate infrastructure. Despite these challenges, efforts to promote, protect, and amplify and include the voices of youths, women, and marginalized people in Zambia have significantly gained momentum. Let me deal finally with the civic and open space in Zambia. When it comes to civic and open space in Zambia, we are of the well-considered view that there is need to strengthen and promote a viable independent media in the country, focusing on enhanced promotion of digitally literate and cyber secure users, as well as intensive promotion of online spaces of engagement. Further, there is still room for a strengthened enabling environment for independent and new media. It is also our well-considered view that more efforts are still needed for the creation of an enabling environment for Zambia to fully exercise freedom of expression and indeed conclude work on adopting the Access to Information Bill. Let me deal with the constraints and challenges this time.
Patrick, before you continue, yes, Patrick, before you continue, just to remind you that it is remaining 10 minutes for us to finish our side event. So
okay,
if wrap it up in 5 minutes, because it will be remaining 5 minutes for us. We have been behind of time. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, I'll just do that. Thank you so much. Okay, there are various challenges. Maybe I only highlight, on account of time, I'll highlight two, just about 3. We note that the effects of COVID-19 the economic decline, and the protracted negotiations on restructuring the country's debt burden with lenders are some of the critical constants that may have had effects in effectively implementing some of the ACHPR recommendations. Maybe second, before I conclude, on the recommendations, we have put them in two parts. Those that should go to the, those that state should handle. Maybe I'll pick one that is important to prioritize the most critical recommendation, taking consideration that resources may not be enough to do all the work. On the civil society side, probably would advocate for non-enactment of numerous splinter NGOs and unions, because this, as we have seen, have a tendency to weaken advocacy work and the lobbying and other work that can be done. Maybe finally, on our recommendations, we believe that the operationalization of resolutions from African Commission on Human and People's Rights, reviews and assignments, good governance and a democratic platform is critical going forward. In conclusion, to ensure that Zambia is on track regarding the implementation of ACHPR recommendations, adhering to the tenets of democracy and guaranteeing the rights and political rights of citizens, it is a well-considered view that the government should prioritize the ACHPR recommendations, increase the resources and the capacities of key institutions, enabling enhancing public awareness and participation, and strengthening accountability mechanisms, as well as promoting dialogue and consensus building among stakeholders. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for your presentation. We are right now behind of time, so we've had 4 speakers. Firstly, we have the chairperson of RFLD, Gloria. We also had the chairperson of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, Honorable Remy Ngoy Lumbu. Then we had our friend Vusumuzi Sifile, and lastly Patrick Kaumba from JS on the situation of human rights in sub-Saharan Africa, and also especially in the Republic of Zambia, knowing that Zambia presented today its reports in its human rights reports in Banjul. So the floor is open if there is a contribution or question. Do we have a contribution or question? No contribution, no question. I will give the floor. Okay, Sarah, our colleague Sarah has her hand. Sarah, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Sarah. I work with Article 19, Global Campaign for Free Expression. We work mainly on freedom of expression and the right to information. And so the progress, or rather the review of Zambia's report on their ACHPR commitments is very close and dear to me. And just thank you to Panos Institute for inviting me to this panel. And so thank you to the panelists for their varied, diverse and input, and just painting a picture and an in-depth sort of perspective of the situation in Zambia. And I'd like to echo a couple of sentiments that have been said by the panelists. The reality is that The world is moving, there's a lot that is happening, and the role of freedom of expression and the right to information continue to be core and the foundations for democracy. They're part and parcel of the African Charter and what we need to identify as a people. And I do echo Vusumuzi's sentiments that the right to information is the lifeline or the oxygen that allows democracy to thrive. And with that said, I would also like to highlight for civil society as well on this topic that I understand that Zambia's work, particularly on freedom of expression and the right to information, has been a long journey. And in as much as there's been so many ups and downs, which is an area that I'm trying to understand, I wish we had more time for us to dig deep and understand why, while 90% of the global population, actually it's 91% of all countries around the world have access to information or right to information laws, why is it that African countries, only at the moment 25 African countries, that's around 66% of the African population, are the ones who live in a country with the right to information law? Just to understand what is the reason why we're lagging behind, yet we've been able to see the importance of access to information as a driver, not just for democracy, but its instrumentality in accountability and promoting other additional rights. So I'd like to encourage all civil society organizations that are working on this to keep up at it. We are more than happy to provide any technical expertise, any echo your sentiments and support any work that is being done around that. And with that said, also to encourage civil societies working within this space, not just at the Africa Commission or within those spaces, to leverage on the opportunities, the partnerships, and pre-existing, local, international, and regional mechanisms that sort of provide or advance for right to information principles. There's the Open Government Partnership, there's the Africa Access to Information Network. There's so many opportunities that we could be able to leverage on this in order to advance Zambia's place. And for any person who's on this call who is a representative of government, I hope they're able to carry on the sentiments and the very important information that has been provided from our colleagues at Panos and CIVICUS to the right persons, to the right people, and to be able to share the recommendations that have been made today. Because from what you've seen is the progress of Zambia as a country, it's advancing. There is a lot of positivity around what the Zambians perceive on the state of governance in their country. And I believe championing for the right to information will only advance this progress and not regress it. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And I hope you continue to engage at the Africa Commission and other opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah, for your contribution. I will leave now the floor to Madam Gloria to close this meeting. Madam Gloria, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you all for connecting on this side event. And thank for Sifile and Patrick for their feedback on the Zambia report. I truly believe that together we can achieve these collective goals of human rights promotion, freedom of expression, women's participation in decision-making era, opening civic space, democracy, and good governance in each of our country. And we are doing it very well. And may God give us more strength to go further. Thank you all, and see you next again.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'm sharing RFLD email in case colleagues want to engage on other relative subjects. So you have admin at rflgd.org for any other further matter or collaborate us. You can reach the Secretariat of the RFLD at that email address. Bye-bye to everyone, and for colleagues in Banjul, excellent continuation. Thank you.
Thank you.